Everyone, thank you for your patience. I would like to call this Hammond Redevelopment Commission meeting to order on this Tuesday, August 6, 2019. It is now 4:30. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence after? Okay, thank you on that. Can we get a roll call on the commissioners?
Merrick,
Here.
Soto Presley,
Here.
Kasperzicki,
Here.
Myrick,
Here.
Poppridge.
Here. For the record, all five are present tonight. Number 3, declaration of conflict of interest. Number 4, communications.
I don't have any.
Okay, that brings us to number 5, our minutes dating July 2nd, 2019.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes for Hammond Redevelopment Commission for July 2nd, 2019.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for our minutes for July 2nd, 2019. Is there any question or discussion on the minutes? Okay, roll call, please.
Merrick,
Yes.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Kasperzicki,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Poppridge.
Yes, motion passes 5 yes. Okay, number 6 is our homebound conditional forgivable loan approval. Looks like we have a pretty big list here of 12 applicants.
Yes, 12. 2 aren't here. Stephanie Haynes and Marcelina Cabello not able to get off work.
Okay,
I'm sorry, who's the second person?
Marcelina Cabello,
Okay, got it.
and who was the first?
Stephanie Haynes.
Okay.
Okay.
Can they all just kind of stand up and maybe 4 or 5 of them come up front and then half a dozen of them behind the others? And just quickly maybe introduce yourself to the commission here.
Christina Bella.
Okay.
Okay.
Halen Paz.
Brandon Barrera. Antoine Johnson. Gerald Schlechtweiler.
Kahari Patrick.
Natasha Dixon.
Richard Zacharias.
Katina Gornick.
Okay. So can we, by show of hands, how many of you guys heard about this program through your realtor? 4? Okay.
4.
4. 5?
I got 4, but
Yeah,
that's
4.
fine. Now 5.
I got
Now
5.
5.
Okay, show of hands, how many heard about our program through your lender? Your financer?
1.
1. Okay. Show of hands, how many just heard about it from either the website or word of mouth? 1. Okay. I wonder how the rest of them heard, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
Some of the people didn't raise their hand. Give me another. What's your other?
A personal friend, went through
Okay.
the course.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Are all you guys first-time home buyers? Yes. Everybody's first-time, okay. Mr. President, I make a motion for the approval of the homebound conditional forgivable loan program for the applicants that are here, and for the 2 that are not, they can come to a future meeting.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for our homebound conditional forgivable loan approval for the 10 applicants that are present, along with the 2 that are absent, just for them to attend a future meeting when they can. Is there any further questions or discussion?
We don't know that.
We haven't done it in a while.
Okay, roll call on the homebound.
Myrick,
Yes.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Merrick,
Yes.
Kasperzicki,
Yes.
Poppers.
Yes. Motion passes, 5 yes. Congratulations and welcome to Hammond.
Congratulations, yeah.
You may all be excused if you like. I'll give you a few seconds
That's
to
okay.
exit if you like.
Good luck to y'all.
Appreciate you coming out.
Yeah,
Just messing with us. You just messing with us. Before I
I looked at you.
I'm like looking at her, oh no, she said my name.
I know, that's it. It's okay. I looked at you, was like,
Okay, continue on. Number 7 is our roof program conditional loan approval. Looks like there's 4 applicants.
Yes, they're all present.
Could they come up, please?
Hi, I'm Michelle Petite.
Okay.
Just stay right. No, you stay right.
Yeah, just stay right there.
Go ahead, say your name. Yeah.
Gail Sutherland.
Okay.
My name's Francisco Ortiz.
Okay. And we're missing one more person.
Patricia Rodriguez.
Okay. So for all 4 of you guys, has this program been explained to you and do you understand the program? Okay. Do you guys understand that the Hammond Redevelopment Commission does not warranty that you need to do your own due diligence for your contractor? Yes. Do you have any questions for us? Do you understand that you need to do your own due diligence as far as your contractor? We do not warrant the contractor's work.
You're choosing the contractor. We're not choosing it or endorsing anybody per se.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for us? You want to make that motion, Wanda?
Does everybody have a first mortgage on their home? Does anybody have a second mortgage on their home? Mr. President, I move for the approval of the roof program conditional loan approval for these 4 applicants.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the roof program conditional loan approval for the 4 applicants that are present tonight. We have a roll call on that, please.
Myrick.
yes.
Soto Presley.
Yes.
Kaspersky.
Yes.
Myrick.
Yes.
Poppers.
Yes, motion passes with 5 yes. Thank you, I appreciate you coming out. You may be excused too if you like. Okay, number 8's approval of amendment to the September 6, 2018 supplemental letter agreement with SEH of Indiana.
Members of the commission, if you look in your packet, you will find a letter of an amendment to the supplemental letter that was approved by this commission on September 6, 2018 for SEH of Indiana. Specifically, the work that we do, not only with SEH, but also with Dan Bowditch, who serves as a senior economic development professional. If you review the information that is in your packet, it will show that basically he's asking for an increase of $5,150 for professional fees for basic services pursuant to their original agreement provided through June 30th, 2019. I know Mr. Bowditch is in the audience if you have any questions for him, but I will personally say that I know we contact him quite a bit. He's definitely an asset to the Economic Development Department as well as the Planning and Development Department. So oftentimes, as you see, depending on what projects we're working on, sometimes we need to use them a little more often than what we anticipate. So I'm presuming that that is also one of the reasons why there's a slight increase. But I know we use them quite a bit.
Yep. I mean, ultimately, to me, this is a change order, and it is relatively small, but can we specifically know why it's costing us more?
Well, generally, and Mr. Bowditch can come up, but I will just say, a lot of times when we're working on a project, we may look at one incentive, or we may have different things that we have to look on that we need additional financial analysis to be taken with different projects. A lot of times we may say, okay, we're going to do this many projects during the course of a period of time, but then we may run into another project that we may have to do. There may be a change in something. So a lot of it just varies on it's project by project. Is that correct to say, Mr. Bowditch?
Yes. And typically, we gauge our not-to-exceed amount based upon an average or of the anticipated work from the prior year or prior 2 years. In this case, and with all my clients, I do provide a monthly update of where we are as far as billing and not-to-exceed amount. And I did note that there were 2 major special projects that were completed with the Redevelopment Commission this year. That being the Hammond Certified Technology Park, which was about $16,000 that was not anticipated to have that recertified through the state of Indiana, as well as additional services to the State Line Data Center project and bond financing, and having the allocation area and the necessary documentation prepared for the economic development area and the allocation area, and that was about $14,800. So out of that, there was almost $31,000 of additional services that weren't really anticipated. However, that sort of threw us above what we normally did. So we've tried to be sensitive to those 2 projects and to stay as best within the agreement of the amount. I believe it was $70,000, $72,000 or $70,000.
Yeah,
We did our best to stay within that. However, in the last month of May, May and June, there was a number of requests for information on Higgins Park as a economic revitalization area assessed valuation deduction assistance. So we've outlined this every month. We're aware of it. It is in our agreement that when we reach 90% of our not-to-exceed amount, we do notify, but that's every month, and I provide that as far as invoicing.
It's a little more specific. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, David will tell you I'm more detailed than necessary. Don't put me in a deposition.
Noted.
No, not good.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with it.
Mr. President, I make a motion for the approval of the amendment to the September 6, 2018 supplemental letter agreement with SEH of Indiana.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of the amendment to the September 6, 2018 supplemental letter agreement with SEH of Indiana. May I have a roll call then, please?
Myrick,
Yes.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Kasperziki,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Poppridge.
Yes, motion passes. 5 yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. Look forward to continued work, believe me.
Thank you, Mr. Bowditch. You're welcome. Okay, number 9 is an approval of West Lake Corridor Downtown Station Planning Proposal.
Commissioners, hi, good evening, staff and Attorney Westland. Nice to see you all. I am here today to seek your approval of the Westlake Corridor Downtown Station Planning Proposal that it should be in front of you. I just wanted to note that Mr. Mark Furman here is in the office right behind Mr. Bowditch. Mr. Furman is an employee of HDR, the firm that we seek to hire to assist us with the planning of the downtown station. So during the course of the Westlake extension and through the review of the planning initiative that the city is undertaking with Jeff Speck, the administration has sought to do a study on what it would take to put a station in downtown Hammond, in addition to the stations that the Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District is already putting in, one at the Gateway Station, one at 173rd and Lyman. And it just makes a lot of sense to the administration that we have a station in downtown proper. We believe it's going to build some synergies based upon future redevelopment and revitalization of downtown Hammond. So the city reached out to the Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District and sought to work cooperatively with them. With that in mind, HDR is the concept up to about 30% design of the current Westlake project. So it made a lot of sense because HDR had a lot of background in terms of the Westlake corridor that we would seek their advice. And so basically what we need to do is raise the track alignment just south of Douglas Street coming into what it could be, potentially be the future downtown station, approximately Russell Street. So north of Douglas, east of the federal courthouse. The project concept engineering that you see before you is right around $33,000. And that will get us to a point where we could potentially include this in the project cost for the Westlake. And so we would seek your approval at this time. And I'd entertain any questions, and if there's something I can't answer, I would ask Mr. Furman to help me out on any real details.
I don't remember the specific question, but I remember when this first came up, Councilman Kalwinski was here, and he was worried that this downtown project would take from, whatever you want to call it, the Holman project.
Gateway Station. Gateway Station.
Okay, Gateway. Yeah.
Commissioner, I had the opportunity to speak to the councilman, and this will be separately funded.
Correct.
So it will not affect the funding source of the,
affect-
no, not at all. I spoke to him after the meeting.
Yeah, and I'm aware of that situation too. This is part of the downtown redevelopment.
And the other question, is the station hinging on the, what's this meeting tonight? On the transformation? I mean, are we gonna transform even if we don't have a station?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Certainly going to help, though.
I agree, no, I'm not against that, yeah. I just,
Actually, the idea of the station was birthed out of a transformation in the downtown area. So the transformation will still, or the proposed transformation will still take place because we understand there are things that need to take place in the downtown area to revitalize that area. But those conversations and information that has been derived from the current study will support a downtown station in the area.
And I might just add, and perhaps Ms. Tarver can help me out with this, but we've talked to a developer for a particular downtown housing development, and the market rate for those housing developments could be 20 to 30% higher as a result of the station, right? The square foot cost per the housing development would increase as a result of having a station in downtown Hammond. So the Gateway Station itself will remain, and it's still, because it connects two lines together of the South Shore, that's really vital to the Gateway Station proper.
anybody, questions? Mr. President, I move for the approval of the Westlake Corridor Downtown Station Planning Proposal.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of Westlake Corridor Downtown Station Planning Proposal. Can we have a roll call on that, please?
Burek,
Yes.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Kasperziki,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Poppers.
Yes, motion passes with 5 yes.
Thank you so much.
City Engineer, Dean Button. Number 10 is an approval proposal for 35 State Street to collect groundwater and soil gas samples.
Members of the commission, if you look in your package, you will find a proposal from EnviroForensics. As you are aware, actually, I believe it was 35 State Street LLC was interested in the property at 35 State Street. They're interested in acquiring the property. We did do a request for proposals, and they were the winning bid of that. They're in their due diligence period, and they wanted to do some further testing, and that is what you're looking at now, is the proposal for further testing at that site, just to do additional due diligence.
Pretty straightforward, needs to be done, right? So-
Yes.
Mr. President, I make a motion for the approval of the proposal for 35 State Street to collect groundwater and soil gas samples.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of proposal for 35 State Street to collect groundwater and soil gas samples. Can we have a roll call on that?
Burek,
Yes.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Kasperziki,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Hopperidge.
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes. Number 11 is an approval of general utility easements for the data center.
Hello again. Dean Button with the City Engineer's Office. So you should have in your packet a request by the Northern Indiana Public Service Company for an easement. Ms. Tanya Stanley is from NIPSCO is here in the third row, and also Mr. Tom Dockage is in the audience as well. This general utility easement has been reviewed by the engineering department and your council. We seek your approval today. This will convey primary power from the Northern Indiana Public Service Company to the site, also crossing a portion of the Hammond Port Authority property. So there's a concurrent document going through their board. And so we've reviewed the site. We've looked at some alternatives on what would work best. NIPSCO is prepared to start almost immediately. They have the equipment and supplies ready and crews ready to start the work. This is essential to to powering the primary station to the data center. The data center also has auxiliary power on site, so it works in conjunction with that. I'm told by Mr. Dockage that the timing between when NIPSCO can bring all the power in and their equipment's ready to start up and test dovetails really well together if this gets approved this evening. So at this time, I would entertain any questions on approval of this action.
Now, you got me with essential for power, so. Anybody? Mr. President, I move for the approval of general utility easements for the data center, essential for power.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of general utility easements for the data center. We have a roll call, please.
Myrick,
Yes.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Kasperziki,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Hopperidge.
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes.
Thank you for this commission, and I really appreciate Ms. Stanley here today to help us with this project. So thank you very much.
Okay, that brings us to number 12, approval of change order 01 Hassey Construction for the Hammond Sportsplex Union Lounge.
I had to fight Africa to be able to present the change order. Although I was wondering earlier, the difference between a supplemental, I was gonna call this a supplemental agreement, and I thought maybe I would slip that one by, but it didn't, or apparently, so. This is for the permit fee for the Union Lounge. It's 29.96, and it's the permit fee that's going to the city anyway, and I think you have a copy on page 2 of the receipt for the city of Hammond that the contractor paid that we need to reimburse. So it's not, it is a change, but we are the owner of the property though, so I think this may fall within a Kasperziki exception, I'm not sure.
Actually, quite the opposite, in that a $375,000 bid was put in and they forgot to include the permit?
I don't know if they forgot. I don't think it was in. So you got to remember, when we first looked at doing this, the bids we received were double and more. So then we scaled the project back with Hassey, and in the course of that negotiation, I don't think anyone thought that the permit fee was going to be an issue because we're a city entity. And then when Hassey went to go get their permit, downstairs, they were very good about saying, oh no, the Redevelopment Commission has to pay their fee just like, anyone else.
Sound
right?
like them.
So,
I mean, I'm not gonna fight this one because it's relatively small, so even I'll stay out of this one. But to me, it's still an error by somebody, but I have no problem with it.
which is why I could hardly wait to present this one when I saw it.
Mr. President, I make a motion for the approval of change order number 1 for Hassey Construction for the Hammond Sportsplex Union Lounge.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further questions or discussion on this change order? Okay, roll call.
Burek,
Yes.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Kasperziki,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Poppers.
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes. Okay, brings us to number 13, reports. Ms. Tarver, would you like to share anything? Or?
Yes, I would. I actually have a couple of projects I want to provide an update. I look in the audience and I see Mr. Tom Dockich in the audience, and I actually wanted to touch bases tonight about the data center. I did a site tour last Friday and was really impressed. The steel structure has been erected, and Mr. Dockich is here. He can correct me. I believe it's a cooling center, but they used another really cool name for the building. But it essentially was the cooling center building that has been erected as well, and they actually walked me around. It was really impressive. I would encourage members of the commission, if you have an opportunity, to get in touch with someone so that you can view the status of that project. It's moving forward very well. I don't know if Mr. Dockich wanted to provide an update, anything other than what I'm already stating, but I was very impressed. It's a really exciting project for the city of Hammond. It's a wonderful reuse of a piece of property that, I mean, when State Line Energy left, we were like, how are we going to market this property? What are we going to do? We have a vacant piece of property that's going to be sorely underutilized, and this is really a very good redevelopment story, how we turned a piece of property around and redeveloped it for not just the use now, but future generations to come. So I don't know if Mr. Dockich wanted to say anything, or?
Yeah, I'll allow you to. Welcome.
I didn't want to jump out in front of
No.
public comments.
No, I thought about that, but it's okay.
I've been coming to these meetings for a year and a half, and this is the first time I've actually said anything. Thanks, Africa. It was great to have you out there the other day. I wasn't there, but the project is going very well, and it's not a function of Peter Feldman and I alone. It's ironic that Dan's here, because Dan worked his brains out to get us to the point that we got this TIF approved. It wasn't easy, but that was kind of, Dan just helped so much. Dave Westland has been amazing in terms of moving us forward. We've had so many lawyers that have been throwing up roadblocks in front of us, and Dave and Kevin Smith just keep knocking them down, and it's amazing. But their contribution has been unbelievable. Dean Button keeps us honest every day, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a really good way, because he provides the questions, and then, Mr. President, then provides the solutions. I mean, we had a little bit of a knuckleball thrown at us, I'd say, a couple weeks ago, and Dean just solved it. He basically came to us with the problem, the solution, a different way to get to the solution. I mean, it's almost a dream come true. NIPSCO, I don't know you at all, but I just left a meeting with NIPSCO to come here, and they had 7 people in a meeting where they could have done it with 3, and they could have they could have not thrown all the resources at it, but they threw everything they had at it to make it such that we're as successful as we possibly can be. You guys have been wonderful here at Redevelopment. The City Council, it's just been a dream. The mayor, I literally think this is the best mayor in the state of Indiana. This is being recorded, so that's a little bit of a problem for me. But he's fantastic. He's done everything he could do. So what Africa brought up, yes, we do have the cooling. The closed loop cooling building is up and constructed. The steel is up. Our TIF is just about we've gotten through the second phase of that. Everything that you guys said you would do, you've done. Hopefully, we're on our way to finishing off everything that we said we were going to do. And so the first time I talk in a year and a half at one of these meetings, I want to tell you thank you. It's been wonderful.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
For your updating kind words. Mayor McDermott and our administration, yes, they do a fine job for the city of Hammond every day.
Also, I wanted to let the commission know I had the opportunity to tour the site of the future ice hockey rink today. And if you have an opportunity, I would encourage all of you to get in touch with Frank Buck or either Stan Stabilo and see if you can tour the site. I think they're going to do some further construction next week, but it's really exciting. I think if you drive by, you really are doing yourself a disservice if you don't get out and actually walk in, because I told him, as someone who does not really watch hockey, when I walked through the opening, you can really see where the rinks are going to be, where the jump zone is going to be. I mean, it's really all coming together. So this is a very exciting project for the city of Hammond, and you were very instrumental in this project going forward.
Did they, excuse me, I think they want to open by end of September. Is that timeline still valid?
Well, I think now the proposed date is closer to November, and it's because I was talking to Frank about that today. He said because of some of the rain we've had, that sort of slows down construction. As you know, constructions have a lot of proposed completion dates, but due to weather, a lot of times he said it may rain, and people, the workers it may rain one day, they're not able to do something, then it further rains a little bit more, so a lot of times the weather sort of pushes the day back. But I know he's working very diligently. He's on site every day, sometimes for 12 hours. And everything he can do. I know that they have constructed some of the locker rooms. I know that those have been painted, and the roof should be coming soon. So, I mean, it's really very exciting. It was very, very exciting. Also, I wanted to remind the commission that tonight in downtown Hammond, we'll have Transforming Downtown Hammond with Jeff Speck. Tonight, Tuesday, August 6th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Toll Theater, 5205 Holman Avenue, downtown Hammond. This event is where Jeff Speck, as you know, was here a few months ago, and he will introduce the draft master plan for downtown Hammond, describing key features and recommendations, including designs for a transformed Holman Avenue and more walkable street network, development concepts for unbuilt parcels, and retrofit ideas for historic buildings, plans to integrate commuter rail and numerous other designs and policy strategies to revive the downtown core as a livable, attractive, and vibrant urban neighborhood. So I would like to remind or invite some who may not already be attending. And tomorrow is also Mayor's Night Out in the 5th District at Purdue Northwest at Alumni Hall from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And that is all I have tonight.
Here's a question that doesn't happen often. It's for Jake, and you're filming the Transforming Hammond thing, and is that going to be able for me to view because I can't make it tonight? So, thank you.
But I believe I believe there may be, we'll talk afterwards, because I want to make sure that you can get the information.
All right, thank you, Ms. Tarver.
Yes.
That brings us to number 14, our bills, register of claims.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to pay the Register of Claims for July 11th, 2019 through August 1st, 2019. Register of Claims R57668 through R57744.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second for our register of claims dating July 11th, 2019 through August 1st, 2019. That's claims R57668 through claim R57744. Is there any questions or discussion on these claims for staff? Okay, roll call on the claims.
Burek,
Yes.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Kasperziki,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Poppridge.
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes. Number 15 is new and unfinished business.
None at this time.
Okay.
Mr. City Engineer, I happen to hear rumor that you're an avid biking type guy. Is the bridge over Calumet completed and
Oh
available
my
for?
gosh, thank you so much for asking. I regret to inform that it is not currently ready for use. We do expect it to be ready the first week in September, and we're coordinating with the mayor's office on a ribbon cutting for that project. But it's gone unbelievably well. One little
Looks
hic-
complete, it's, yeah, okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, number 16 is public comment. It is open now. Public comment is open. If anybody would like to come forward and speak, you may do so.
Hi, my name is Gerald Sideweiler, part of that Homebound. I just want to thank you so much. It's going to be like the first house I ever buy, so I'm very happy to live in Hammond. Very happy with what the mayor's done with the skate parks all around. The Edison Park is wonderful for my kids, and just want to show this family is very appreciative of your approval. So, thank you, Gerald.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Never.
Thank you, sir. Said he's glad we can make a difference in your life, and appreciate you to prosper here in this great city.
Wonderful. Good to hear from you.
Okay, would anybody else like to speak?
Where's with school?
Public comment is closed then. Number 17.
Mr. President, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Can you all signify by aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Meeting is adjourned.